than doon sa required na standard. Okay? So, yan yung concept ng MPMs. Okay? So, ngayon, required na siyang i-disclose. Now, okay? So, yung mga IFRS specified subtotals, yan, katulad yan, operating profit, di ba, required subtotal yan. Tapos ito, binanggit ito mismo sa standard na hindi masasabing MPM. So, yung mga yan, okay, and this one, so those are not considered MPMs. Okay? So ang possible na MPMs, yung profit adjusted for certain income and expenses. Okay? Yung operating profit adjusted for certain income and expenses. Okay? Or yung adjusted earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Okay? So, kailangan ma-meet niya yung definition ng MPMs. So, kaya lagyan ng note, a measure is not okay, that is not a subtotal of income and expenses. So number one, dapat yung MPM, subtotal yan ng income and expenses. Okay, kaya kung hindi siya subtotal ng income and expenses, for example, itong mga ito, yan. So itong mga ito, hindi yan actually subtotal of income and expenses. Okay, so hindi pwedeng masabi yan na MPM. Okay? So kaya ito yung guidance in determining MPMs. Okay? So first, yan bang measure na yan na ginagamit ay subtotal? So meaning may income, may expenses na related dyan. So subtotal dapat siya. So kaya kung income lang yan, expense lang yan, hindi yan subtotal. So pag ang sagot, no. Then not an MPM. So disclosure requirements for MPMs not applicable. So first, it must be a subtotal of income and expenses. So pag ang sagot, yes. Next question. Is the measure used in public communications outside of the FS? So ano ba yan? Okay, dinidiscuss ba ng entity yan sa management commentary, sa mga press release, okay, sa mga investor presentation? So pag no, then not an MPM. So kasi kailangan i-communicate siya sa public. Yan. Okay? So pag ang sagot, yes. Then, is the measure included in the list of subtotals in IFRS 18? Kasi nga may mga in-specify ang IFRS 18. O ito ha, itong mga ito, hindi ito MPMs. Okay? Or specifically required to be presented or disclosed by IFRS accounting standards. So required subtotal ba yan? Pag ang sagot, yes. Hindi siya MPM. Kasi specify ng IFRS 18. Ito hindi to MPM. For example, yan, gross profit. Okay? So yung operating profit before depreciation, amortization, and impairment. So yung mga in-specify na yan, hindi MPM siya. Pag ang sagot, no. Then, next question. Does the measure communicate management's view? Okay, pag ang sagot, yes. Then, MPM yan. So kasi nga parang baka may ibang ano may ibang aspect, may ibang interpretation or insight ang entity, ang management regarding yung performance ng entity. So other than dun sa required nga ng IFRS na dapat i-present mo profit or loss. O dapat i-present mo yung subtotal for operating profit. So dapat i-present mo yung kay yung profit before financing and income taxes. O ito palang management, pag nag-a-assess sila ng performance, may iba silang kino-consider. So pagka yan ay okay, kino-communicate yung management view na yon, then MPM yan. Now pag ang sagot no, is there reasonable, supportable information to rebut the presumption? So pag yes, so ibig sabihin napilitan lang na i-discuss yan pero hindi naman yan ginagamit talaga internally. So requirement lang let's say ng regulation pero hindi naman ginagamit talaga yan as performance measure. So if that's the case, hindi yan MPM. Okay? Pero pag no, then MPM yan. So yan ang concept ng MPM. Kasi nga, okay, nung hindi pa required yan, okay, so meron namang sa income statement makikitang profit or loss. Pero itong mga entities, minsan pag nagdi-discuss sila sa investors, may mga press release sila, ang dami nilang kumbaga mga ginagamit na alternative performance measures. Yun nga, traditionally, EBIT, sasabihin na ito ang aming EBIT, ito yung EBITDA and other measures para bang Okay, yung parang sa ano, okay, parang sa result ng board exam. Di ba? So may official na nandun. Ito yung percentage. Pero ibang ginagawa, pagka mababa yung overall, ang ipapakita lang yung first timer. Okay, so kung let's say, konti lang yung pumasa or konti lang yung nag-take pero mataas ang percentage, papakita lang nila yung percentage. So minsan, kumbaga, hindi mas na-explain bakit yun ang way ng pag-report. So yun ngayon yung concept so similar to that, by analogy, yung parang MPM. So kumbaga parang, okay, ito ang naka-report lang sa income statement, ito lang ang profit, pero pag ni-report na, pag in-add back mo yung debt interest, yung taxes, lumalaki yung profit. Okay? So, kaya gustong malaman, okay, ang objective diyan i-disclose. Bakit nyo kino-communicate yung ano na yan? Bakit nyo kino-communicate yung information na yan? So, saan nyo ginagamit yan? Ano yung use niyan? Yan. So, kaya ngayon, required na siya i-disclose in a single note. And in particular, ano yung mga dapat i-disclose na yan? Ito yon. So, a company is required now to provide disclosures. Dati wala ito, ha? So, to provide disclosures for MPMs in a single note, including ano yung mga dapat i-disclose na information? Reconciliation between the measure, okay, and the most directly comparable subtotal listed in IFRS 18. So, for example, yun nga, yung operating profit, in-adjust nila. So, dapat explain doon yung reconciliation. Ipakita yung reconciliation. Ito yung, okay, nasa income statement. So, ito yung MPM. So, yung reconciliation. Ano yung mga in-adjust? Okay? So, specifically required by IFRS accounting standards, including yung income tax effect and effect on non-controlling interest for each item disclosed in the reconciliation. So, description of how the measure communicates management's view. Okay, so kumbaga yun nga, meron palang other aspect ng financial performance na iba yung view, okay, ng management doon. And how the measure is calculated. Kung may changes, yon explain yung changes. Okay, or yung manner kung nagbago yung pag-compute, so okay, explain okay yung changes. And then yung statement that the measure reflects management's view of an aspect of financial performance of a company as a whole and is not necessarily comparable to measures sharing similar labels kasi pwedeng pareho ng description pero magkaiba pala ng pag-compute or descriptions provided by other companies. So, yun nga. So, nung wala pa yung IFRS 18, yan, kanya-kanyang alternative performance measures, lalo na yung mga listed companies. Okay? So, hindi naka-disclose properly dun sa FS. Kaya, pagka mga investors, minsan ako confused. So, ibang nandito sa income statement Iba yung press release naman ito. Iba yung nasa management commentary. So, ngayon, kailangan na i-disclosure. Okay? So para mas maintindihan, bottom line, para mas maintindihan ng investors and other primary users yung laman yung information provided in the FS. Okay? So ito yung example. Yan, provided ng standard. Provided ni IASB. So 'di ba dun sa kay IFRS 18 required na ang operating profit. So, pero yun nga, pwedeng ang MPM, may mga certain adjustments. So, ipapakita doon. So, tingnan mo ito. Kung IFRS lang, ito lang yung profit. So, para bang sinasabi dyan, ay hindi. Kung in-add back namin dyan, kung wala sanang impairment, kung wala sanang restructuring na nangyari or disposal sa mga PP, dapat ito sana yung operating profit namin. So, parang ganun ang view ng management in that aspect. So, makikita ng investors, may iba silang tingin. Kumbaga, may iba silang analysis na ginagawa internally. Yan. Okay? So, kaya parang ang sa management approach ng IFRS 8. Okay? Ito, tingnan mo ito. Yung profit from continuing operations. So, ito lang sana kung i-apply lang yung IFRS. Pero yun nga, may mga adjustments na ginawa. Ito yung MPM nila. So, kailangan explain yun. Kasi para ma-tie up Kasi iba yung nasa FS pa. Iba yung kino-communicate mo sa public. So, in the management commentary, sa mga press releases, okay, sa mga investor presentation. So bakit magkaiba? So dapat yun, makita yun sa FS. Okay, so ayan ha. In relation to the second issue, yun nga yung okay, disclosure of MPMs, Management Defined Performance Measure. Kasi nga, di ba, ano ba ang traditional measure of financial performance? Yung profit or loss. Pero bawat company may kanya-kanya alternative ba? Okay, so minsan pag hindi maganda yung performance, minsan, ibabalik yung depreciation, ibabalik yung amortization para bang sinasabi, oh mas maganda sana yung performance namin kung wala itong depreciation na to, impairment na to. Yeah. Okay, so yun lang dapat i-explain. So, at paano kinompute nga yung MPMs na yan. Tapos, dapat ma-reconcile do sa figures na nasa FS at yung ginamit na MPM. Okay? Now, regarding, again, as mentioned already, financial statements provide information. At ang objective nga, provide useful information, primarily to those making investing and credit decisions. Now, in general, financial statements provide information about an entity's assets, liabilities, equity. So, yan yung elements reported in the statement of financial position, traditionally called balance sheet. Income and expenses, okay, including gains and losses. So, actually, yung income and expenses, ito yung changes in equity. Okay? So, other than transactions with owners. Kasi ang changes in equity, dalawa yan eh. Owner, non-owner. So, pag nag-change ang equity, tapos hindi siya owner transactions, yun yung actually tinatawag na income and expenses. At yun ang pine-present in, so ito na yung bagong title. Ang tawag na ng IFRS 18, Statement or Statements of Financial Performance. Okay? At yung statement of financial performance ngayon, pwede ngang single statement, nando na yung section, may two sections nga lang, may P&L, may OCI, tapos may comprehensive income. Or pwedeng statements, kasi nga pwedeng two statements. Nakaseparate yung profit or loss, tapos another statement showing the OCIs and comprehensive income. Okay? So, yan na yung title na ginamit ng IFRS 18, which is actually the title used in the framework. Yan. So, ginamit na yung Statement of Financial Performance. Okay? So, yung contributions by and distributions to owners in their capacity as owners, yan ang pine-present in the Statement of Changes in Equity. And of course, yung cash flows in the Statement of Cash Flows. So, itong apat na ito, or magiging lima yan pagka ginawa mong two-statement approach, ang tawag dyan, yun nga, primary financial statements. Pero syempre, not complete yan without the notes. Okay. Now, yung information na yan provided in FS, useful yan to users of FS in assessing yung prospects for future net cash inflows to the entity. So, yung information na provided in the FS should help users predict cash flows. Okay? And ma-assess yung management's stewardship of the entity's economic resources. So, effective ba, efficient ba ang management in managing economic resources of the entity? So, dapat yung information provided in the FS should help users assess those. So, yung prospects sa cash flows at yung management's stewardship. Okay? Now, ito na nga yung challenge. Yung pag-group ng information. So, as I mentioned earlier, ang challenge of anong ilalagay sa face? Anong ilalagay sa notes? Okay? So, yung face, yan yung nasa primary financial statements. And then, notes. So, ito yung guidance provided in IFRS 18. Okay? So, yung primary FS, yung primary financial statements, okay? So, provide useful structured summaries. Okay? So, yun ang key ha. Dapat ang nandyan sa primary FS, useful structured summaries of what? Okay? Assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, and cash flows. Okay? So useful yan for obtaining an understandable overview. Yun ba pag nakita mo yung face? So meron ka ng overview of recognized assets, liabilities, equity. So income, expenses, cash flows. Okay? And then yung summary na yan can help users compare. Okay? So within the entity, so previous period, current period, and other entities. Yan. And then, identifying items or areas about which investors may wish to seek additional information in the notes. So, kaya itong primary, FS, at yung notes, complementary yan. So, yun nga ang challenge. Ano yung dapat nasa face? Tapos, ano yung dapat nandun sa notes? Okay? So, ang guide, if it will provide useful, structured summary, present that on the face. So, dapat nasa primary FS yan. Okay? Kung hindi naman, pero material, yung information na yan, then it should be included in the notes. So, the notes provide material information necessary to enable investors to understand. So, syempre, di ba, overview lang ang nandun sa face. So, gusto mong makita, teka, ano yung details niyan? So, yung details, normally nandun saan? Notes. So, to understand the line items in the primary FS. Okay? So, yung disaggregation yan, ano yung composition ng mga line items na yan. And, to supplement the primary FS with additional information to achieve the objective of the financial statements. So basically, yung nasa primary, so more aggregated yung information dyan. Okay? So, ang key dyan is dapat useful yung structured summary na yan. And then more detailed, of course, ang notes. So together, the primary FS information plus the information in the notes, yan, complementary yan. So ang bottom line, dapat yung information na yan will provide useful information. Okay, so that will help the users predict cash flows and assess management's stewardship of economic resources entrusted to it. Okay, so yun. So and yun nga, better guidance provided by IFRS 18. Okay? So principles, yan, in general for grouping of information. So again, the standard gives guidance for companies on grouping transactions and other events into line items. So yan yung makikita natin on the face of the primary financial statements and information disclosed in the notes. So in general, these principles require companies to aggregate items that share characteristics. So generally, similar in nature, aggregate. Dissimilar in nature, present separately. Okay? So unless of course, immaterial. So pag material yan at dissimilar yan, normally pine-present yan separately. So similar ang characteristics, pag sama-samay yan, tawag aggregate. So aggregation. Okay, oy, dissimilar yan. Wala silang shared characteristics. Present mo yan separately. So disaggregate. So yan yung principle ng aggregation and disaggregation. So group items in a way that does not obscure material information or reduce the understandability of information presented. Okay? So ito, ang crucial dyan yung judgment eh. So hindi naman dapat excessive yung gagawing aggregation or masyadong too detailed naman yung gagawing disaggregation. Okay? So if that's the case, ma-obscure. Okay? Ma-obscure na yung information. Okay? So in relation dun sa aggregation, for example, yung mga investments yan. So let's say investments in debt and equity, investments in debt and equity instruments. Okay? So it will not be appropriate kung pagsasamahin mo isang line item lang. Investments in debt and equity. Considering na merong debt and equity investments na naka-fair value through profit or loss. Merong naka-fair value through other comprehensive income. Merong naka-measure at what? Amortized cost. So, although pareho silang investments, pareho yan, debt and equity, So, i-consider yung measurement basis nila. And normally, kung magkaiba ng measurement basis yan, dapat pine-present yan separately. So, normally presentation as to FBTPL, FBOCI, and AC will result in what? Useful, structured summary. Dan isang line item lang, debt and equity investments. Tapos magkakaiba ng kaya measurement. Okay? So kaya normally, pine-present separately yung measured at FBTPL from FBOCI and AC. Kaya lang, di ba magkaiba pa rin sila? Debt tsaka equity. So ito, consider mo na yung judgment kung dapat ihiwalay ba yung debt sa equity pag pinresent on the face or baka naman doon na lang sa notes. So it is aggregate. So ito yung FBTPL, ito yung debt dyan, ito yung equity. Okay? So kaya again, ang key dyan is judgment. Okay, use judgment in determining what to present on the face. Okay, basang objective. Dapat yung face will provide useful, structured summary. Overview ng assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, cash flows. Okay? Tapos dapat ma-compare yan within and so with the same entity from one period to another and with other entities. And then dapat okay, yung nandyan sa summary na yan, okay, ma-identify ano yung dapat titingnan sa notes na additional information. Okay? And then, yun nga, place items in the primary FS and the notes to fulfill their complementary roles. So, complementary. Okay? So, kaya yun nga ang challenge in reality. Ano yung ilalagay mo sa face, ano yung nandun sa notes. Okay? Yun nga, may guidance naman din dyan, ang IFRS 18. So, merong mga tinatawag na line items. So, yung line items na yon, so, okay, so kung material yon at and it will provide niya useful summaries, dapat nandun yun, makita yun sa face. Pero kahit na sinabing minimum line item, pero kung it will not result in useful structured summary, pwedeng wag mo na i-present. So kaya crucial pa rin yan yung judgment and yung consideration of materiality. Okay, pero generally, pag sinabing, oy, line item yan, dapat nasa face yan. Okay? So, in relation to, so yun na, may sample na tayo doon sa, yun nga, yung sa assets. So, yung sa mga investments, yan. So, again, pag similar, aggregate. Pag dissimilar, present separate. Okay? Now, in relation to presentation of expenses in operating category, okay, so the standard requires a company to present expenses in operating category in a way that provides the most useful structured summary of its expenses. So again, yung makikita dun sa face dapat useful structured summary. And regarding yung operating category, ano yung useful structured summary ng expenses? So actually, hindi nagbago yung sa IAS 1. Pwede pa rin by nature or by function or both. Okay? So, so pag by nature, yan, ipe-present yung raw material, salaries, advertising, depreciation, etc. So, nature of the expenses. Okay, kung by function naman, i-consider yung activity. Now, ang problem lang kasi sa function, minsan may mga expenses na mahirap i-allocate. Kasi pag by function, you need to allocate certain expenses. And in some cases, the allocation is arbitrary. Kaya in some cases, ang ginagawa, okay, merong mga nakapresent by function. Pero yung mahirap i-allocate or arbitrary yung nagiging allocation, ginagawa, pine-present by nature. Pwede yun. Okay? So again, whichever will provide useful, structured summary of the expenses. Now, in most cases, ang ginagamit by function. Pero doon sa survey na kinonduct ng ISB, meron din gumagamit ng by nature. And some combination. Yan nga, para sa mga areas na mahirap ma-allocate. Okay, so IFRS 18 requires companies to classify expenses in a way that provides the most useful information to investors considering, for example, What line items provide the most useful information about important components or drivers of the company's profitability? So ano ba yung mainly affects yung profitability? So by nature ba or by activity or combination? And what line item most closely represent the way the company is managed and how management reports internally? Okay? So kaya ngayon nga, basta ang bottom line, yung pag-present ng expenses na yan in the operating category should provide useful, structured summary. It can be by nature, it can be by function, or combination. Okay? Now, regarding nature of expenses, IFRS 18 requires companies that present expenses classified by function to disclose the amount of, actually dati ng requirement to. Di ba nga sa IS 1, pwedeng by nature, by function. Ang kaibahan lang, mas may guidance na pinrovide ang IFRS 18. Hindi katulad ng IS 1. O sige, by function ka, by nature. So, okay, more on judgment. So ito, yung pagpili ng appropriate presentation, mas may guidance na pinrovide ang standard. Okay? At hindi nagbago yung requirement to disclose depreciation, amortization, and employee benefits. So, kapag nag-present by function, dapat mag-disclose ng expenses by nature. At a minimum, okay, so dati tatlo lang tatlo. So ngayon sa IFRS 18, ginawa ng 5. Okay, ano yung additional? Wala ito sa IAS 7. IAS 1 rather. So yung additional, impairment. Required na rin siya ngayon. And write-downs of inventories. So ito yung additional. So itong tatlo, dati na to. Dating requirement na yan. Pero ngayon, since meron ng operating, may investing, may financing, so pag kinlasify yung expenses by function, so syempre sa operating yan. So anong mga line item, isinama yung mga items na yan. Yung depreciation, yung amortization. Okay, kasi kung by function, ano ba yan? Selling, magkano yung depreciation nasa selling? General and admin, magkano yon? Others, magkano yon? So, required siya ngayon i-disclose. Okay? So, again pag by function, kailangan mag-disclose ng nature of expenses. At 5 yung pinapa-disclose. Depreciation, amortization, employee benefits na dati ng requirement. So, yung additional, impairment, losses, and write-downs. By the way, syempre may reversals to, no? Including reversals. Kung may reversals, i-disclose din. Okay? Now, so ito na yung pinaka-summary. So ito yung one-page summary na pinrovide ng IASB. So IFRS 18 will improve communication in FS. Okay? So yun nga, na-resolve na yung mga issues noted. So in the primary FS, so the primary FS provide useful structured summaries of the company's assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, and cash flows. At yun ngang summaries na yan, will provide users overview of those items, assets, liabilities, equity, income, expenses, and cash flows. Okay, so magamit siya na to compare yung current period do sa previous periods within the entity and yung information with other entities. And then, we'll identify additional information needed that can be located in the notes. Okay? At yun nga, significantly nagbago yung structure ng statement presenting profit or loss. Again, yung profit or loss, it can be presented as a separate statement or as a section in the statement presenting comprehensive income. So, hindi nagbago yung option to present one or two statements. Pero yung P&L section or yung separate statement of profit or loss, meron ng required 5 categories at dalawang subtotals. So, yung operating profit and profit before financing and income taxes. At yung income and expenses classified na into operating, investing, financing, income taxes, and discontinued operations. Okay, so limited changes noted, okay, dito sa statement of cash flows and statement of financial position. So dito walang changes actually. So except nga dun sa more guidance provided in aggregation and disaggregation. So yung pag-present ng mga OCIs, hindi nagbago yon. So nakagroup pa rin into will and will not be reclassified to profit or loss. So actually wala nagbago dun sa changes in equity. Then in the notes, okay, provide material information to supplement yung primary FS. So kaya nga itong dalawa, complementary yun. Okay, and required na ngayon ang disclosure ng management-defined performance measures. Okay, and then may additional requirement para doon sa nature of expenses. Then other disclosures actually carried forward yan from IAS 1 mainly unchanged. Okay, so again, there is now enhanced guidance for aggregation and disaggregation. So applicable yan in all primary FS and notes. Now, yung general requirements for FS carried forward yan from IAS 1. So in particular, ito yung nasa IAS 1 ang tawag, general features of FS. Okay? As noted already, yung 1 to 3, hindi mo makikita yan sa IFRS 18 kasi inilipat siya sa IAS 8. So without changes yan. Kung may changes man, edit ano lang, kumbaga wordings lang. Okay? So carried over from IAS 1 to IAS 8 unchanged. Then yung 4 to 8, so ito yung 8 general features of FS, yung 4 to 8 ang na-transfer to IFRS 18. Okay, so actually hindi nagbago yung materiality, guidance on materiality, offsetting, frequency of reporting, comparative info, and consistency of presentation. No changes yan. So ito lang yung nagbago. More guidance on aggregation and disaggregation. Okay? So, yan yung general features, okay, yung general requirements, okay, in preparing FS. So, again, yung 1 to 3, nilipat sa IAS 8. Yan, nagbago yung title niya, naging basis of preparation. So, yung 4 to 8, okay, except for aggregation and disaggregation, so, transferred lang yan, unchanged to IFRS 8. Okay, now, other notable changes made in IFRS 18. Okay, so number 1, yun nga, ginamit na yung title na Statement of Financial Performance. Okay, so kasi nga naman, ano ba yung measure of financial performance? Yung profit or loss and comprehensive income. Traditionally, profit or loss. Tapos yung comprehensive performance, yung comprehensive income. So again, hindi naman nagbago. Yung option to present two statements, okay, separate statement of P&L and another statement presenting comprehensive income. Okay, or one statement, okay, two sections. Okay, pero yung title na ginamit na sa complete set, tinawag na siyang Statement of Financial Performance. So sa IAS 1 kasi ang title, Statement of Profit or Loss and Other Comprehensive Income. Okay, so mayroon ng required line item for operating expenses. At yun nga, as noted earlier, presented either by nature, by function, or both. And kung gagamit ng presentation by function, required na mag-present ng cost of sales. So dati hindi required dyan eh. So ngayon, line item na siya. Kaya kapag by function, makikita natin yung gross profit kasi yung revenue required. Tapos may cost of sales, then gross profit. So, pero hindi in-specify na required line item yung gross profit. Kasi nga, pwede namang i-present by nature. Kung by nature, hindi natin makikita yung cost of sales. So, wala din yung gross profit. Okay? Pero yun nga, pag nag-present by function, dapat may line item for cost of sales. So, removal of the line item, finance costs. So, dati kasi meron sa IS1, may finance cost line item. So ngayon kasi 'di ba, yung category na financing. So doon sa financing, ipe-present yung interest on the liabilities. So yun nga, yung guidance sa aggregation and disaggregation, so i-apply din. Paano ipe-present yung mga interest, yung mga income and expenses na yan related to financing. Pero yung mismong finance cost na line item, wala na yan. Okay? So ito, sa statement of financial position, required line item na ang goodwill. So before, choice ng entity. Okay, pwedeng i-present separately ang goodwill, pwedeng kasama sa other intangible assets, pero dapat sabihin may goodwill. Now, in IFRS 18, goodwill is now a required, mandatory na siya, line item. Kailangan ipipresent na siya separate from other intangible assets. Okay? Now, yun nga, yung paggamit ng others. Na-abuse kasi yan in practice. So, an entity shall label items presented or disclosed as other. So, only if it cannot find a more informative label. Okay? So, kaya nga, sa IFRS 18, so dapat clear. Clear yung pag-communicate ng information. And para ma-communicate clearly ang information, dapat may proper label. Ayan na. So, dapat may proper label para faithful ang representation. So, kaya pag may nagparamdam sa'yo, ha, tandaan mo, ha, tanungin mo agad. Okay, anong ilalagay kong label para clear? Okay, so ayan ha. So dapat clear ha. So kumbaga last resort ng gamitin others. Kaya lang, yun nga, pag ginamit yung term na others na yan, so dapat meron ding, kung dapat may explanation yan doon sa notes. Ano yung composition yan? Ano yung in general, laman yung others na yan. So kaya kung let's say, di ba kung gagamit by function, may cost of sales, may selling, may general and admin. Okay? Tapos, yung hindi mo namin lagay mo na lang other operating expenses. Yan. So, dapat descriptive pa rin siya. Okay? Hindi lang sa others. Okay? So, yan ang other changes made to in IFRS 18. Now, ito yung possible na ma-encounter nating mga questions pagdating sa presentation of FS. Okay. In the statement of financial position, so ito yung ano muna pala. So by the way yung sequence pala ng complete set, dati ang nauuna statement of financial position. In IFRS 18, ang inuna na statement of financial performance. Now, does it mean na mas importante na ang financial performance sa financial position? No. So all the statements should be presented with equal prominence. All the statements are equally important. Kaya lang, as to sequence, una na ngayon dun sa complete set yung statement of financial performance. Dati kasi mas una yung financial position. Okay? Now, as noted already, ito yung, aside from dun sa main changes to the structure, ito pa yung other issues na pwede nating ma-encounter. And normal itong tinatanong sa board exam. Okay? So ano nga ang elements related to financial performance? Diba? Income and expenses. So ano ang issues natin dyan? Ano yung itatanong sa'yo? Number one, okay. Yung income and expense na yan, saan yan? Anong section yan? P&L or OCI? So ang technique dyan, alamin mo lahat ang OCI. Kasi pag hindi OCI, automatic P&L. So the default is P&L unless ni-require or inallow in OCI. Kaya pag hindi kasama sa listahan ng mga OCIs, automatic P&L. And currently, there are 15, 15 OCIs. Tandaan mo lahat yon. Pag alam mo yung 15, yung hindi kasama doon, P&L. Then, yun nga, yung sa OCI, hindi nagbago yung requirement. Nakagroup pa rin yan. Merong will and will not be reclassified to profit or loss. Now, ang main problem nga yung sa P&L. Kung may discontinued operations, ang next issue, part ba siya ng continuing or discontinued? Ang discontinued, pag pinresent yan, one line item. Okay? Ang may details yung continuing. At yun nga, yung continuing, may operating na, may investing, financing. Tapos income tax. Okay? So yung income and expenses in P&L, yun. Operating ba yan? Of investing, financing. At doon sa operating, ang issue nga dyan, ano ba? Paano ipepresent? By nature or by function? At kung by function, ito yung typical line items. Cost of sales, selling, general and admin, okay? Others. So, pwedeng, usually by function yung pag-classify. In most cases, by function siya. Although yun nga, yung hindi na ma-allocate properly, ginagawa na lang by nature yung iba. At ang common nga itatanong sa'yo dyan, papakompute sa'yo yung cost of sales, magkano yung classified as selling, general and admin, others. Now, in relation to, okay, P&L or OCI? Sige nga, try this one. Yan, try this one. Ito, madalas tinatanong to, yung items included in OCI. Sige nga, sample natin. Ito hindi nagbago ha. Again, nagbago lang kung paano ipepresent yung income and expenses in P&L. Pero ano yung income and expense sa P&L, ano yung OCI, same pa rin. So, as is yan from IAS 1. And, try nga natin to. Tingnan nga natin. Yan. Yan ba ay OCI? Yes or no? Yan. Sige, try lang, try. So, ang key nga dyan is dapat hanggat maaari 15 na OCIs. Kasi kung kabisado mo yon ay, ang dali niyan. Yung ganyang mga problems. Although yung sa 15, meron kasi dong related sa insurance at meron ding related sa hedging, hedge accounting. So yun naman, hindi masyadong tinatanong. Ito yung common. So ito yung most likely na ma-encounter nyo sa exam. Sige nga. Yes or no? Yan. OCI? Yes or no? Ayan. So medyo may extend tayo, no? Late na kasi tayo nag-start pala. Mhm. Sige nga, kahit lang yung number one, okay? Pagalawin ang chat box. Yes or no? Yan. Tingnan ko lang. Para lang gumalaw yung chat box. Number one. Yes or no? Ayan. Hindi na gumagalaw ang chat box. Nag-freeze na. Okay lang yan. It's okay to make mistakes. Yan. At least you tried. Yan. Sige nga. Try nga. Try. Number one. Kahit number one lang. Yes or no? Ano kang OCI? Other comprehensive income. So, ang nature niyan, income yan. Expense but not recognized in profit or loss. Kasi required na OCI siya. Yun ang concept niya. Bakit OCI? Kasi required o kaya allowed. Sige nga guys. Hindi gumagalaw ang chat box. Wala na yata. Ayun, ayan. Meron na ako isang nakita. Ayan. How about the others? Ayan, meron ako dalawang nakitang yes. Dalawa na lang ang audience. Okay. Tatlo na. Tatlo na ang audience. Okay, yan. Gumagalaw na ang chat box. Sige, pagalawin natin para hindi mag-freeze. Yan. Ayan, okay. Okay, I understand. Kasi iba yata, medyo mahina ang data. Kasi nag-brown out. Okay, sige nga. So ito lang, para lang at least may sample tayo. Okay, number one, generally, yes. Pag sinabi lang, revaluation increase. Normally yan, increase in revaluation surplus. At yung increase na yon in revaluation surplus, income yon. Pero dahil required ng PAS 16 kung PPE or ng PAS 38 kung intangible asset, So, required siya na i-recognize in what? OCI. So, kaya 1, yes. Pero yung number 2, okay, dahil previously impaired siya, since yung impairment loss ay PNL, yung pag-reverse niyan, PNL din. Kaya yung 2, no. Okay, so kasi i-account yan as reversal of impairment loss. 3, no. Generally, ang revaluation decrease expense in PNL. Pero kung may existing surplus, okay, so yes. Tapos ang i-debit doon, revaluation surplus. So yan yung tinatawag na changes in revaluation surplus. So ito yung increase, ito yung decrease. So generally, pag increase, yes. Pero pag decrease, no. Kasi generally ang decrease, expense yan in PNL. So except yun nga sa number 4 kung may existing revaluation surplus. Okay, number 5, yes. Kasi pag held for collection and held for sale, ang classification, fair value through OCI. At kapag fair value through OCI, syempre yung changes in fair value, OCI. So pag debt instrument, consider yung business model. Pag equity, pwedeng at fair value through OCI. Basta wag lang held for trading. Kaya pag designate as such, yung changes in fair value, OCI. 7, yes. Okay, so pag cash flow hedge, yung effective portion, PNL. Rather, OCI. Paano yung ineffective? No. Profit or loss yan. Yun lang, effective portion ang nandun sa OCI. Okay, so number 9, yes. Kasi yung hedge item niya, equity investment na nakadesignate at fair value through OCI. Kaya yung hedging instrument, yung derivative, yung change in fair value doon, para consistent, OCI din. Okay, 10, no. Kasi held for trading. So pag held for trading, lahat ng change in fair value niyan, PNL. Kahit pa related to credit risk. Okay, pero kung designated at fair value through profit or loss, yung liability, yung financial liability at attributable sa credit risk, yes. So yung credit risk component required siya. Okay, i-recognize in OCI. 12, yes. Okay, 13, yes. 14, yes. Itong tatlo na ito, yan yung tinatawag na remeasurements. Remeasurements of defined benefit plans. Ito yung sa DBO, ito yung sa plan assets, ito yung effect of ceiling. So in general, tawag dyan, remeasurements. Okay, 15, yes, yung translation gain or loss. So yan yung mga typical OCIs. So again, saan i-recognize ang income and expense? So unless required in OCI, profit or loss. So ang default PNL. Okay? Now, in relation to financial position, ito naman ang typical problems. Okay? So, yan ba ay line item? So, syempre, dapat alamin natin yung mandatory line items. Okay? So, most of the problems, papakompute sa'yo current, non-current, assets, liabilities. So, yung offsetting of assets and liabilities. Okay, again, generally, bawal yung pag-offset ng assets, liabilities, income, expenses. So ano yung items included in equity? Tapos yung effect of events after the reporting period, okay, on the classification of assets and liabilities. Now, regarding the line items, okay, ito yon actually. Okay, so ito yung mandatory line item for assets and liabilities. With IFRS 18, may isa kang idadagdag dyan, yung goodwill. So goodwill is now a required line item. Okay, now, paano mag-appear on the face of the statement of financial position yung mga items na yan? So merong required na current, merong required na non-current. So meron naman pwedeng current, pwedeng non-current. Okay, at ito yung summary. Sige nga. Okay, try lang muna. So, pag current, lagay mo C. Yan. Pag non-current, okay, N. Pag either, E. So, lagyan mo na ng note, these are what? The line items plus goodwill. So, line item for assets and liabilities. So, meaning, okay, pag material ha, okay, and it will result in useful, structured summary. Dapat makita yan sa face. Dapat nasa face siya ng statement of financial position. Ang issue nga lang, anong section siya? Current or non-current? Okay? So, yung number one, current. Two, current. Three, required, non-current. Four, well, depende. Okay? Kasi nga, ang financial assets, merong true profit or loss, okay? FBTPL, FBOCI, and AC. Okay? So, it can be current or non-current. So, either. Five, current. Six, well, depende sa nature ng biological assets. So, yung mga 45 days, so current yan. Okay? So, yung mga not realizable within 12 months, non-current. So, either current yan or non-current. Seven, mandatory, non-current. Ganon din yung 8 and 9. So, mga non-current yan. So, of course, yung 10, current yan. Yung 11, bawal ha. By the way, yung requirement na yung deferred taxes, whether asset man or liability, so same pa rin. Cannot be current. So non-current. 12, current. 13, current. Well, yung 14, depende sa expected settlement. So within 12 months, current. Not within 12 months, non-current. So either. So 15, depende rin yan sa settlement. So it can be current or non-current. 16, of course, current. Again, ang deferred tax bawal, prohibited as current. So, non-current. So, 18, current. Okay, so those are the line items. So, plus mo yung goodwill for IFRS 18. Then, yan nga, ang usually tinatanong yan, ika-classify mo as to current, non-current. Now, regarding cash flows, okay, ang main issue dyan, anong activity yan? Operating, investing, or financing? Okay? So, ito yung definition ng operating. Ang guide ko dyan, sa pag-determine kung operating ba, investing, financing, hanapin mo yung related accounts. So, actually, just like in the income statement, okay, ang operating is basically residual. Yung hindi investing at hindi rin financing, then it's operating. Okay? Pero mainly, yung operating activities nga, principal revenue producing activities. Kaya ang related accounts dyan, yung mga working capital items. And considering yung residual nature niya, yung hindi investing at hindi rin financing, operating. Okay? So kaya mas madaling ma-identify actually ang investing and financing. So ang technique ko dyan, alamin mo yung investing, alamin mo yung investing. Ay, hindi siya investing, hindi siya financing, operating. At ano naman ang investing? Acquisition and disposal of long-term assets and other investments not included in cash equivalents. Kasi pag cash equivalent, yan nga yung ina-account, yung increase, decrease, yung change in cash and cash equivalents. So actually, ang guide ko dyan, pag investing, ang titingnan mo lang dyan, assets. Irrelevant sa investing ang liabilities and equity. Okay? So assets only. Particular assets, non-current investments. Except yung trading. So hindi nagbago yung requirements sa trading. So pag trading, okay, para kasing inventory yan acquired for the purpose of selling in the near term. Kaya yung trading investments, ano yan? Operating, yung cash flows. Okay? Then yung financing, so ito yung equity transactions and borrowings. So kaya ang financing, mainly yan, equity transactions and borrowings. Short-term, long-term borrowings. Kaya pag financing, ang guide, huwag mong tingnan yung assets, liabilities, and equity only. Okay? And there are two types of financing, debt and what? Equity. So kaya debt financing, borrowings. Equity financing, equity transactions. O hindi siya financing, hindi rin investing, then operating. Okay? And yan, ang common nga itatanong sa'yo, bigyan ka ng cash flows, ika-classify mo siya. Okay? Sige nga, try natin. Apply muna natin yung current version, okay, ng IAS 7. So before January 1, 2027. Sige nga, tingnan natin yan. Pag may alternative at silent, so ang gagamitin yung usual. Yan. So ito yung may mga alternative presentation. So kaya notice no, depende kung kailan ka mag-exam. Pag mag-exam ka 2026, ito pa ang applicable. Ang problema no, nag-exam ka 2027 tapos hindi pa updated ang test bank. So yon, medyo yon, pakiramdaman. So medyo problema tong May 2027. Kasi sa May 2027 exam, applicable na ang PFRS 18, PFRS 19, at yung bagong standard on PFRS for SMEs. So tatlo yung standards, okay, na effective sa 2027. Kaya mas maganda mag-exam ka na, no? Exam ka na ng October 2026. Yan, para CPA ka na. Okay? Pang CPD mo na lang yung updates na yan. Okay, so number one, dahil nga yung interest expense ay included in computing P&L, ang usual dyan, currently operating. Alternatively, financing. Interest received, okay, dahil kasama yan sa pag-compute ng profit or loss, operating. Alternatively, investing. Ganon din yung dividends. Pero yung paid, dahil hindi naman expense yan, so usually yan, financing. Income taxes, normally operating yan, unless related to investing or financing. Okay, so yung reverse factoring arrangement, so minsan tawag yan, supply chain financing. So yung classification ng cash flows, okay, will depend on the classification of the payable. Pag trade payable yan, operating. Kung yan ay considered as borrowing, financing. Cash paid to buy held for trading investments as noted earlier dahil nga trading, so parang inventory, operating. So yung inflow and outflow, operating. Cash paid to buy debt investments not considered as cash equivalents nor held for trading, investing. Yan ha, that is kung mag-exam ka next year, hanggang next year, pwede pa yan. Okay, tingnan nga natin yung impact ng IFRS 18. Okay, dyan sa statement of cash flows, this one. Effective January 1, 2027. So number one, so since ang interest paid niya ay normally financing yan, financing expense yan, so ganun na rin sa cash flows, financing na rin. Ang interest, dahil yan ay investment income, so investing. Ganon din yung dividends, investing na. So ito yung nagbago. Yan. Ang laking effect nito, no? Ang laking difference. So itong dividends paid, hindi naman nagbago. Financing pa rin. So the rest, the same. Operating, operating, financing, okay, operating, investing. So ito yung substantially nagbago. So ang laking effect, depende kung kailan ka mag-exam. Okay, so yan ang IFRS 18. So ni-replace niya yung IAS 1. Pero yun nga, in replacing IAS 1, some of the provisions transferred to IAS 8. And then may consequential amendments to IAS 7. Okay, on yun nga, presentation of cash flows. Okay, then another item in our agenda, okay, subsidiaries without public accountability. So itong IFRS 19 is a disclosure standard. Okay, of course, ano dapat alamin natin dyan? Number one, yung scope niyan. Sinong gagamit niyan? Okay, so at bakit Katulad ng IS-1, bakit ni-replace yung IS-1? Ito naman, bakit nag-issue ng IFRS 19? Okay? Now, regarding subsidiary, ano nga ang subsidiary? Yan ay entity controlled by another entity. At sino nga yung nagko-control na another entity? Ang tawag sa kanya, parent. So yung parent at yung subsidiaries, pag pinagsama yan, ang tawag group of companies. Yan. Okay? So parent, yung controlling, yung controlled, yung subsidiary. At ano nga ang requirement? Kapag controlled ang investee ng investor, required ang pag-prepare ng consolidated financial statements. Okay? At yung guidance sa pag-prepare ng consolidated FS, nandun yan sa IFRS or PFRS 10. Now, okay? Ito yung challenges, okay, ng mga subsidiaries without public accountability. Okay? So again, as I mentioned already, when a parent company prepares consolidated FS that comply with IFRS accounting standards, its subsidiaries are required to report to the parent using that standard. Siyempre, di ba, magko-consolidate ka eh. So kung si parent gumagamit ng IFRS accounting standards, so for consolidation purposes, mare-require. Okay, itong si subsidiary na gumamit din ng IFRS accounting standards. So for consolidation purposes. Now, kung itong subsidiary ay wala naman public accountability. So, for their own FS, yung subsidiaries are permitted to use pwedeng IFRS accounting standards or yung IFRS for SMEs or National Accounting Standards. So actually in the Philippines, okay, tatlo yung frameworks natin eh. Full PFRS, PFRS for SMEs, and PFRS for SEs, yung small entities. Hiwalay na sa atin yung small tsaka medium. Pag medium size ang entity, yan ang gumagamit ng PFRS for SMEs. Now, okay, pagka medium size, mandatory PFRS for SMEs. Kaya lang, okay, pag itong kaya entity na ito ay subsidiary siya ng isang parent, tapos yung parent gumagamit ng full PFRS, yun nga, mahihirapan yung consolidation. Kaya in the Philippines, pinapayagan ng SEC na kahit na medium size, pwedeng ang gamitin niya full PFRS na lang din. So para hindi mahirapan sa pag-consolidate. At the option of the entity. Okay? So kaya kung ayaw niya naman, yun ang problema. Effectively, dalawang records ang i-maintain niya. So yung based on PFRS for SME kasi ano siya, medium size siya, and okay, for consolidation purposes, yun nga, yung full PFRS. Okay? So, yan ang mga challenges sa pag-consolidate. So, subsidiaries using IFRS for SMEs or National Accounting Standards for their own FS often keep two sets of accounting records because the requirements in these standards differ from those in IFRS accounting standards. Yun nga. Okay? So pagka yung subsidiary ay isang SME, so magpe-prepare siya ng sarili niyang FS based on PFRS for SMEs. Pero pag kinonsolidate na, i-convert niya pa yung FS niya from PFRS for SMEs to full PFRS. So kaya dalawa yung records niya. Or ang option nga, sige na nga, isa na lang gumamit ka na lang ng full PFRS kahit SME ka. Ang problema naman, pag yun ang ginamit, masyadong maraming disclosures required. Disproportionate yung information na pinoprovide pag full PFRS doon sa information needs ng users. So, kaya you can see yung challenge, no? Ito siya. Ayan, para mas makita natin. Yan. Yan yung situation. Okay? So, ito yung subsidiary. So, i-consolidate siya kay parent. So, yung parent, subsidiary, gagawa ng consolidated FS. Now, itong subsidiary, wala naman siyang public accountability. So, ibig sabihin, pwedeng nag-qualify siya as what? SME. So, pwede niyang i-apply yung PFRS for SMEs. So, kaya lang, pag gagawa na pag magko-consolidate na, kailangan niya i-convert pa sa full PFRS. Kaya dalawang records ang kanyang i-maintain. Pag ang ginamit niya naman, yung full PFRS na, ang daming disclosures doon na hindi naman actually relevant, useful na doon sa users ng FS. So, disproportionate yung disclosure. So, yun nga ang problem. Okay? So, to address these problems, kaya in-issue yung IFRS 19. Okay? So, para masimplify yung pag-consolidate and also mabawasan yung cost at yung effort required nga to prepare FS for consolidation purposes. Okay? So, IFRS 19 resolved the challenges. How? By enabling subsidiaries to keep only one set of accounting records. And this will meet the needs both of the parent for consolidation purposes and the users for their and the users of their financial statements. And yun nga, binawasan yung disclosures. So kasi nga disproportionate 'di ba yung disclosures? Okay? Kasi pag ang ginamit full PFRS, edi lahat ng requirements doon, ang dami-dami noon na hindi naman relevant na sa users. So, yun, nabawasan siya. Tapos, isang set na lang. So, effectively, full PFRS ang gagamitin. Okay? Full PFRS but with reduced disclosures. So, kaya ito yung na-resolve ng IFRS 19. Hindi na kailangan ng dalawang records at hindi na disproportionate yung disclosures. Okay? One set of records na lang, isang framework na lang ang gagamitin but with reduced disclosures. Okay? So, yan ang kay reason for the issuance of IFRS 19. So, problems, challenges encountered by subsidiaries, okay, in preparing financial statements. So, for purposes of consolidation and for purposes of providing information to its users of MS. Yan. Okay? So, regarding the reduction, substantially reduced. At ito yung sample na pinrovide ng IASB do sa effect analysis nila. So, some of the standards. Actually, yung iba, halos walang konting-konti lang yung nabawas eh. Ito yung substantially reduced talaga. Doon sa IFRS 12, so ito yung disclosure of interest in other entities. So, 68% yung reduction. So, yung sa revenue, yan, 52%. Sa income taxes, 53%. So more than 50% itong apat na sinampol na standards. So kaya substantially reduced yung disclosures. Okay? So without of course sacrificing yung quality ng information provided. Okay, now itong issue. Sino ang pwedeng gumamit ng IFRS 19? So an entity, take note ha, IFRS 19 is voluntary, optional standard. So kung gustong gamitin, okay. Kung hindi kung ayaw gamitin, okay lang din. Pero kung gagamitin, dapat eligible. Dapat qualified. Okay? At paano magko-qualify? So an entity may elect to apply this standard in its consolidated, separate, or individual FS. So, isa na lang. Okay? Hindi na kailangan iba pa yung para sa separate, iba pa yung sa individual, iba pa yung sa conso. No, isa na lang yan. Okay? If and only if at the end of the reporting period, of course, number one, it must be a subsidiary. So, dapat yung entity, an entity controlled by another entity. So, meron siyang parent. Does not have, yan, public accountability. And yung kanyang ultimate or intermediate parent produces consolidated FS available for public use that comply with IFRS accounting standards. So pag na-meet yung A, B, and C, eligible yung entity to apply IFRS 19 or in the Philippines, PFRS 19. Kung ayaw, okay lang. Okay, pero siyempre, okay, mas mababawasan yung cost at yung effort to produce FS kung gagamitin yung IFRS 19. But again, it's purely optional. Now, yung public accountability that is actually similar doon sa definition ng public accountability doon sa IFRS for SMEs. So actually, yun ang ginamit nilang basis dyan sa pag-develop nila yan. Kasi bakit nga dinevelop yung IFRS for SMEs? Two objectives, simplify and minimize. Simplify the requirements and then minimize cost and effort required to produce FS. Okay? So kaya yung definition ng public accountability, same doon sa IFRS for SMEs. And that is, an entity has public accountability if its debt or equity instruments simply available to the public. So, traded in a public market. So, or kahit hindi pa traded, already in the process. So, eventually, mag-IPO na. At yung market na yan, pwede siyang domestic, foreign, over-the-counter, so including local and regional markets. So, simply stated, yung debt or equity available to the public or eventually will be available to the public. So if that's the case, may public accountability yan. Hindi pwedeng i-apply dyan ang IFRS 19. Or kahit hindi naman traded, okay, pero merong tinatawag na or it holds assets in a fiduciary capacity for a broad group of outsiders as one of its primary businesses. At ang common examples niyan, yan, banks, credit unions, insurance companies, securities brokers, dealers, mga mutual funds, investment banks. Okay, so those entities hold assets in fiduciary capacity. So for a broad group of outsiders as one of their primary businesses. So kapag may public accountability, then IFRS 19 is not applicable. Okay? So again, optional standard. Pero para magamit, number one, subsidiary siya. Tapos dapat no public accountability. So yung debt or equity instruments not available sa public, not traded, not in the process of trading, not holding assets in fiduciary capacity. Okay? So for a broad group of outsiders as one of its primary businesses. And yung parent niya, yung ultimate or intermediate parent, nagpo-produce ng FS using full IFRS or yung IFRS accounting standard. So sa atin nga, full PFRS. Okay? So pag eligible, so matter of choice, pwedeng i-apply. Kung ayaw, okay lang. Kaya take note, an entity electing to apply IFRS 19 applies the requirements in other IFRS accounting standards. So meaning, when to recognize, how to measure, paanong presentation. So apply applicable standards except yung disclosures. So yun lang ang ang ni-reduce. Pero yung requirements ng ibang standards as to recognition, measurement, presentation, so applicable pa rin yun. Okay? So, binawasan lang yung disclosures. Okay? So, kaya, when to recognize, how to measure, how to present, apply applicable standards. So, pero, yung disclosures, ang i-apply, pag ginamit ang IFRS 19, yung reduced disclosures in IFRS 19. Okay? So, again ang covered lang ng 19 na disclosures lang hindi yung ibang aspects ng financial reporting. So, yung accounting, hindi covered yan. Disclosure lang. So, an entity that elects to apply IFRS 19 in one reporting period may later revoke that election. Okay? So, again, optional yan. Matter of policy siya actually. So, kaya pwedeng last period, pwedeng this period, siya? Okay, in-apply niya yung IFRS 19. Pwedeng next period, hindi na. Okay lang. O kaya previously, okay, hindi in-apply, this period in-apply, okay lang. So an entity may elect to apply IFRS 19 more than once. Okay? Now, although this is a matter of policy, hindi siya ina-account in accordance with IAS 8. So instead, ina-apply siya, okay, ina-account siya in accordance with IFRS 19. So, yun lang actually. Okay? Ang IFRS 19. Okay? It's more on for eligible, okay, subsidiaries. So, reduced disclosures. Pero yung accounting, same as full PFRS. Okay? And then, of course, okay, yung laman mismo ng standard, checklist lang yan. So, don't in-specify. So, kumbaga, nandun lahat ng standards pa rin. Tapos, reduce na nga lang. Okay? So, yan ang nature ng okay, IFRS 19. Okay, so that's it. Ayan. Okay, so natapos natin ang IFRS 18 and 19. Yan. So by the way, yung IFRS 19 is actually effective immediately yan. So kung gusto nang i-apply ng entity ng sub-entity siya, pwede na. Okay, kahit next year. So kaya lang in the Philippines, okay, effective pa siya sa January 1, 2027. Although yun nga, early adoption is allowed. Okay, ayan, that's it. Okay, so for my presentation. Yeah. Now, questions? Any questions, guys? Okay, we'll now give the okay platform to our host.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Clarence.
Hello po, sir. Okay na. Wait lang po.
Yes, Clarence, go ahead. Go ahead, Clarence. Or Althea.
Ayan po. So, okay. Thank you so much, Sir Ocampo, for that very insightful and enlightening discussion. So, I am sure that we are all now well knowledge about financial reporting included in IFRS 18 as well as 19. So, actually, we are going to provide the Q&A session from 8 to 10 minutes if may questions po ang ating participants. So to our participants, please raise your questions to Sir Ocampo if there are any. So para po ma-address na agad ngayon, since nandito na rin naman tayo, go na.
Ayan,
Okay,
any questions, guys? Yan.
so sa comment section, kung nahihiya magsalita, just drop it down sa atin pong comments. Okay, I think wala ng questions and I think sir, clear na sa kanila lahat ng naturo mo and I hope na clear na nga talaga. So let us now proceed to the presentation of certificate. So allow me to read the contents of the certificate. So this certificate of appreciation is given to Mr. Reynaldo R. Ocampo, CPA, MBA, for generously sharing their time, insights, and expertise as a resource speaker during the webinar on November 14, 2025 via Zoom meeting. Your contribution has inspired our students to pursue excellence and professionalism in accounting. This webinar, Reporting Reinvented, Seeing the Numbers in a New Light, covered updates in IFRS 18 and IFRS 19, and your valuable input made the session more meaningful. So given this on the 14th of November 2025, signed by Ma'am Mary Grace A. Mastro, OIC Dean of PSU CBA, and Sister Gina M. Galang, Dean of HTU CBA and HM. So to Sir Ocampo, you have not only enlightened our minds, but also reignited our passions for excellence in the field of accountancy. Thank you so much for inspiring us. Your certificate and token po ay to be shipped to you shortly as a symbol of our heartfelt thanks po. So for our participants, so we are going to drop po sa ating chat box ng Google Forms for our attendance. So make sure na naka-all caps po yung paglagay natin ng names natin as well as the other requirements. At sa bottom part po ng ating form, may nakalagay dyan na clue. So, ginagagamitin natin yung clue na yon, and I hope tayo lang dito sa Zoom meeting ang nakakaalam ng clue kasi it will be the identification kung nandito nga ba talaga kayo throughout the session. So, wag natin i-share sa mga wala dito dahil tayo lang din po yung malulugi. So, this will be included para po sa ating certificate of participation ang atin pong attendance. So you will be given 5 minutes to answer the Google Forms and you may start now. So let's have a short break muna para masagutan and we'll be back in exactly 5 p.m.
Hello. Hi, sir. Sir, baka while the students are filling out the forms, kung may gusto kayo munang sabihin before closing remarks ng HTU president or representative.
Okay po. So while waiting, so I think since now malapit na uh, 5, so let's proceed to the last part of our program. So we would like to extend again our heartfelt thanks to those who all made today's event possible. Our resource speakers, also our chief media officers, as well as advisors, and of course, every participant who made this event lively and engaging. So to formally close our event, we now call on Ms. Jewel and BC Palen, President of HTUGP.
So, hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, am I audible na po? So, to close this event po, so in behalf of Holy Trinity University and Palawan State University, I would like to express our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Ronaldo R. Ocampo, CPA MBA, so for sharing his time, expertise, and valuable insights on the latest updates in IFRS 18 and IFRS 19. So, Sir Ray, your discussion truly helped us understand the evolving landscape of financial reporting and its impact on our future profession. So for that, thank you so much po, Sir Ray. And we also extend our appreciation po to PSUJP Advisor, Mr. Aristotle Manuel Vigo, and to PSUJP President, Mr. Peter Christian G. Tabinga, for inviting us to be part of this very informative webinar po. And our sincere thanks as well to the PSUJP officers and councils for their hard work and dedication in organizing this successful event. So your efforts in planning and coordinating and ensuring everything runs smoothly are truly commendable. And of course, thank you po sa lahat ng mga participants from PSU and HTU-GP. So for your active engagements and presence throughout this session. So may we continue to learn, collaborate, and grow together as future accounting professionals. So thank you po and have a great day.
Yung message nyo po kanina, if pwede pong pa-continue na po. Thank you po.
Ayan, oh guys, thank you for listening to my webinar, and also guys, okay, meron pala tayong mga social media accounts. Ayan, i-follow mo na, i-subscribe mo na. Meron tayong YouTube channel. So here you can watch some lectures about FAR and audit. So magamit nyo actually yan guys na supplement sa inyong intermediate accounting and audit subjects. Yan. So meron din ako mga pinopost dyan na mga question problems of the day. Yan. Oh, nandito na tayo sa TikTok. Ayan. So kakagawa lang natin ng TikTok. And you can join actually my FB group. So here in the FB group, I upload certain learning materials that you can use in your supplement in your studies. Yan. Okay, so thank you guys.
Ay, sir. Thank you ulit, sir. Peter, nasa meeting ka pa ba? Tawagin ko lang, sir, si Peter, yung
Yes
JP
po, sir.
president namin. Ayan, kamusta? Nakapag-change ka na ng internet connection?
Yes po.
Okay, sige. Oh, ano naman, baka pwede mo buksan yung yung camera mo. Nag-prepare yata si Peter kanina ng sasabihin sa opening. Yan lang, nagka-aberya. So, yan.
Good afternoon po.
So, may photo op pa ba before
Um,
mag-end ng session? Or may gusto ka pa sabihin muna, Peter, while we're preparing. Sino mag-screenshot?
si Kuya Aldrin na lang po.
Okay.
So, ayun. First of all, thank you so much for allowing Sir Ray, allowing us to be your to be our guest speaker po for this afternoon, and thank you for your insights, and we are sorry for the technicalities na nangyari ngayong hapon and the power interruption din po. And to all participants from PSU and HTU JP, thank you so much for making this event successful, and that's all din po. Thank you so much po, especially to Sir Ray.
Okay
Okay.
po, and with that, we officially conclude our webinar. So once again, this is Reporting Reinvented, seeing the numbers in a new light. So this has been Clarence L. Gabinete, your Master of Ceremony, together with Althea. So nagkakaroon pa siya ng technical issues, kaya wala siya dito. And reminding you that behind every number lies a story worth understanding. So before we end, we are requesting everyone to open your cameras para po sa ating photo opportunities. I will give the floor now to our secretary na magte-take po ng picture para po unified po tayo. Alam natin kung nag-take na ba siya or hindi pa. Okay pa. Okay na po ba, Kuya Aldrin?
Sige, screenshot tayo.
Okay pa.
Okay, one, two, three. Wait lang. Wait lang sa next slide. Okay, next slide tayo. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay na po.
Okay po, thank you everyone. Once again, gusto ko lang po uh, mag-ask ng inyo pong consideration that we are having too much technical issues dahil po sa ating internet connectivity as well as the power outage na naranasan ng lahat na nandito. So again, thank you everyone. Keep learning, keep growing, and see you in the next JPIA event. So goodbye everyone. Again po, yung attendance po natin are now officially closed. Thank you.
Thank you for your participation. Ayan, Peter, Althea, and Clarence. Gamitin natin yung Zoom account later. Usap tayo.
Sure,
Okay
sir.
po, sir.
Okay.
May time naman po.
Sige. Saan ka, Clarence? Tinigiban?
Opo.
Okay.
To other participants po na nandito pa, pwede na po tayo mag-leave, and thank you once again po sa participation, and also your certificates will be provided sooner, as soon as possible. Thank you.
Ayun. Hello. Ayan, wala na rin no, leave na lahat ng mga participants. Ayun, thank you. Kayo lang talagang tatlo